I used to hide at work that I like anime. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. And today we continue exploring different ways of how we're not being ourselves at work. And today is a personal story time. I will share with you 3 reasons why I used to hide that I like anime at work, how I overcame it, and when it may not work for you. I used to love anime, not only sitting and watching anime, but hanging out with other anime fans, going to anime festivals in different cities, listening to music from anime, cosplaying, anything you can imagine. I did that. A small reminder, anime is a Japanese term for animation. This is a type of a cartoon traditionally made in Japan with a distinguished drawing style. I was otaku or otaku? No, otaku. I'm not sure. We used to say otaku. At least we were calling ourselves that. Otaku is a person who loves anime. Fun fact, in Japan, the word otaku actually means someone from any subculture, but in the Western world, we usually use the word otaku for anime lovers. So if someone from Japan would ever watch this video, sumimasen. But I used to never mention that I like anime at work. Despite it being a big part of my life, I was even actively hiding it. For a brief context, I started working really early, at the age of 18 maybe, in parallel with getting my higher education. I worked in a classical corporate in both international and Russian companies, and I worked on, I would say, not really a creative type of a job. By creative, I mean, for example, marketing, where the culture was usually more relaxed and some personal eccentricities could be even encouraged. At that moment, tech was quite different from the tech now. Okay, why would I hide that I like anime at work? And the first reason is, it was not career beneficial. In order to have a career, you have to be serious. Especially at the beginning, I haven't seen people who wouldn't take themselves seriously. In many countries and societies, career is a measurement of success and even happiness. No one even questions that, so if you don't have a decent job, you're doing something wrong. If you're not a manager at a certain age, that's not okay. To be honest, I myself personally is quite a career-oriented person, so even without all that, I used to chase titles and big working challenges. I worked in IT and there were different kinds of people there. Some of you may even remember that it was a time when IT was almost exclusively a male zone, and IT guys deliberately tried to separate themselves from a boring office worker. This was a time of a cliché sysadmin with a beard and a sweater. But even then, you could clearly see, if you look at the examples of people who made it career-wise, that you should not be considered freakish or weird. Otherwise, you would stay on this rather low level of career ladder. You have to be serious, you have to be perceived by others as a serious person. That was the only way. And let me tell you, in this working environment, a young plus-sized girl working in tech that watches anime is not really perceived as a serious person. The second reason is that I wanted to be accepted by others at work. I remember when I was 18 or 19, I saw a girl once that came to her working place. She used to work in a cafe as a bartender, and she came there in her full cosplay costume. That shocked me to my very core. I was thinking, how is this even possible? What if they don't understand what this whole appearance is about? And of course they won't understand. Or do you need to explain it to them? And you will have to work with these people afterwards? It all felt super scary for me. So now it's not a career question, but more of a psychological comfort. It's obviously better to stay low with your quirks, because that would help you avoid uncomfortable conversations with others. By the way, it was also a time when some people thought that anime and hentai is the same thing, so conversations about anime could escalate really quickly. So yeah, I think I kind of expected other people's judgments. I was thinking that I can always go home and be myself with my friends and family. I didn't realize back then that this approach was not working for me in the long run. I'm a really career-oriented person. I devote the most of my time to it, and being another person at work for too long was making me a deeply unhappy person. Also, my personality was too different from what other people used to show at work. Maybe it's not the genuine personalities, but also what they've picked to show to others. But still, it demanded a lot of mental effort for me to blend in. But I really wanted to be accepted at the working place, so I never mentioned that I'm an anime fan, or any other hobbies or things that can be considered as weirdish. That would make me stand out. The third reason is actually a habit from my teenage years, and it's a safety concern. It was a time of subcultures, and if you stand out and it's visible and you're in the wrong time, in the wrong place, you can literally get bitten. Of course, anime fan was a little bit luckier than, for example, emo boys. At that time, anime could be a little bit of a dangerous hobby to have. Just imagine a happy, cheerful anime fan in a colorful clothing that stands out. And for example, these guys. And you will get what I mean. So, fast forward to my life right now. I don't hide my personality anymore, and I think I've learned how to do it in a corporate setting, and I have what is considered by many as a successful career. It doesn't mean that I deliberately display some of my hobbies and push it on others. It can also be a stage along the way when you still don't feel comfortable enough, but once you're comfortable with yourself, you don't feel the need to do that anymore. So now I'm comfortable speaking about anime, I don't hide it, and I can even publicly fangirl about a certain anime without the fear of judgment. Though talking about anime in front of the camera, it still feels a little bit uncomfortable to me, but hey, neuroplasticity is real, it used to be much worse. Also, I live in the Netherlands right now, and this is generally more accepting country than Russia, but I stopped hiding my personality long before I moved in here. Now, the big question, how did I achieve that? And the first answer is, you need to be exposed to different examples of different people. It works simply. If you observe someone who is different than you, especially if you have a chance to work with these people, it expands your picture of reality. You observe what people are doing and where it leads them. And at some point you start to think, oh, this girl is so cheerful and authentic despite her working on what is considered a serious job. That means that it's possible, right? So this is in a nutshell how role model works. I myself a typical people's person. I'm genuinely curious about other people a lot. So this quality helped me not only meet other people, but get to know them better. And in all of my past jobs, I've been observing many managers with different approaches, styles of working, different ways of how they express themselves. But this is only the beginning. After you observe, here's the hardest task. You need to make a personal judgment about each example you observe. And this is what's difficult. You need to ask yourself, does this behavior resonate with you? Do you want to be manager like that in the future? Would you be proud of yourself 10 years from now if you would behave like that? Would you be happy? So answering all these questions slowly supported myself in opening up a little bit more. I detected what I like in other managers' behavior, and it helped me value authenticity more. And with that, you get a certain perspective, and the risk of being judged or the fear of being judged doesn't bother you that much anymore. But you need to have a lot of internal reflections about everything that you observe. It's tiring, but for me personally, in the end, it's worth it. Also, last year I did my MBA in the Netherlands, and apart from it being an absolute transformative journey, it's also where you're getting exposed to a lot of cultures, people, nationalities, ways of working, ways of thinking. It's often painful, it's often uncomfortable, but it's also a personal growth on steroids. And I think I came there already quite prepared. Of course, I haven't been in the same environment before, but I already trained myself to value authenticity of others and allowed myself to show mine. So in the end, it only rooted deeper my habit of always looking for ways how can I express myself better in the formal environment. The second answer is, after you learn how role models work, sometimes you realize that you can be one. Once you start managing other people, you become an example to them, and if you want it or not, you influence them. And sometimes there is no one to promote a culture in a team but you. I never wanted my teams to be in the same limiting environment that I spent my own early working days. So it motivated me, yes, to be more vulnerable with them, to open up more, to express my authentic self. But in the end, if you show it as an example, next time they themselves won't be scared of opening up. And I wanted for them to feel comfortable expressing themselves. It's an absolutely different level of trust and comfort at work. And this realization motivated me to open up more. Now, let's talk when this approach doesn't work. There are jobs and working environments that conflict with an idea of being emotionally vulnerable. For example, there are companies with a really strong army-like cultures when it's required not to stand out and not to express your personality. These companies don't see the value of people being themselves for their business. This is a completely different type of culture. This may work for them, no problem at all. So if you found yourself in this type of company, if you will start being more vulnerable and open up more, there is a chance it will backlash you in this culture. For me, it's a little bit sad to think about it because I believe that we all want to be who we are, but this is a necessary reality check we all need to do for our own comfort and safety. Another example is a job that would require an absolute uniformity. Hotel workers, waiters in a really formal restaurants, flight attendants, a lot of types of service jobs. The idea behind this is for the appearance, not to distract the clients from the matter, and also create a sense of you as a client will get the same treatment from each one of our employees. Of course, on these jobs you can still have a personal connection with your coworkers, but you need to remember that this company benefits from you being standard, not you being unique. And I do not encourage you from working in these companies. No. Just listen to yourself. Look at what resonates with you. Sense if this type of job works for you or not. In the end, some people find a huge deal of comfort when they work in environments like that. And the fact that I may not be one of those people doesn't change anything. Another case when expressing yourself at work may not be the best idea is simply when you're personally, psychologically not ready for that. Sometimes we need to blend in at work to preserve our psychological comfort. We just have too much on our plates and we cannot afford being more vulnerable at work, even if there is a chance of us benefiting from that. It's just too risky. And there is no shame in that. You don't need to push yourself whatever it takes. I myself was not psychologically ready to be more vulnerable at work at a certain point of my career, and the stage has passed. To conclude, I developed the skill of being my authentic self at work, and it did not interfere with my career success. It demanded self-awareness, it demanded stepping out of my comfort zone. But it was extremely important for me to ensure that I have a healthy balance between corporate rules and being my authentic self. I now show others an example of not taking myself too seriously, not only to my teams, but to my peers and to my managers. And I often receive the gratitude for that, because right now I work as a role model for others. I hope my story was inspiring to you. It was a long journey of self-development, and I'm really proud of where I am right now. Thank you so much for watching. You can check my latest video somewhere here and subscribe if you want to see more. Bye!